Welcome back to the Low Man Help podcast. I'm Marc Campbell, joined again by our featured guest, 3-time NBA champion, 1-time NCAA champion, almost finals MVP, previous finals 3-point record holder, Daniel Green.
Man, yeah, almost. Your records got broken. You almost there. It's all good. Appreciate you having me, man. It's always a pleasure to jump on the pod, talk the game, you know?
Mm-hmm. I saw your clip from Run It Back where they made you watch the Ray Allen shot, and I thought it was one of the most cruel things I've seen. Like, Chandler Parson and Lou Williams do not like you. They're not your friends.
So it wasn't them, to be fair.
Okay.
It was two other guys, the behind the scenes producer guys. Like, they asked the trivia questions about your about your career. So it wasn't them that were up to it.
Okay.
But they asked, and I'm like, man, it's not as bad now as it was. It really was so hard to watch that clip, that game, anything during that time. PTSD for sure. Depressing days, dark days.
There we go. So we are 3 rounds into the NBA Cup. You are calling your first NBA Cup game tonight. The Utah Jazz playing the San Antonio Spurs in Utah. The Golden State Warriors have already qualified to go through. We didn't get to it on our first episode, but they were your pick to win it all. And so you're already on to the next level. Like, you're
on a good pace.
Yeah, you're on a good pace here.
Not Nostradamus, but I'm looking like,
no,
you know,
yeah. Houston looks
pretty
good. Like, your Houston pick looks pretty good. They have their like big game tonight, Houston, Minnesota. I feel like that's whoever gets that one gets through in Minnesota. Do you have any thoughts on that one?
Houston, Minnesota. I feel like they dropped some games that they shouldn't have, and I feel like I don't want them to win this game, obviously, for my picks. But I feel like they're gonna win this game because they lost to some teams that they shouldn't have lost to.
Yeah.
But I do like Houston, and mind you, Fred VanVleet might be suspended for a couple games.
He is good for like his one in Toronto when he was at the podium.
I love it.
That was really good.
I fucking love it. I mean, sometimes it has to be said. Obviously, physical contact should never happen in our league. But, you know, sometimes the referees take it personally, man, and they make it about them, and they single a player out, and they target certain guys. And it's like, yo, we understand certain guys get different treatment. They're superstars.
Mm-hmm.
But don't disrespect us as role players. Like, certain calls, yo, you missed a foul.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to call that against me if I do it to the other person. At least give me something, or say I was wrong. Some of them won't even, like, I'll take my bad. I was wrong. I missed it. Oh, yeah. A lot of them said just arrogant, make no mistakes, aren't wrong. And it's like, go away. And it's like, yo, I can't talk to me grown men. Don't talk to me like I'm a child or your kid.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it gets out of control. And, you know, I wish I had the balls to do it, and the funds, the pockets to back it up to do it. I don't have the balls or the bank account to get that fine or suspensions. But shout out to Fred, man. But I said, obviously, we want a good sportsmanship type of game. There's no place for that. But, you know, sometimes the call out in Toronto needed. I think Ben Taylor at that point stopped calling Toronto games after that. So, like, players having a platform and using it like this, a podcast, and explaining, you know, I have issues. You know, instead of having to call the league office, telling the league office, yo, every time this guy referees me, I get too quick. He's looking to call fouls on me. And I used to have issues with that with some guys. And I'm like, and we used to think like it was funny or we're friends. I'm like, no, we're not friends. You keep screwing me over, bro. Like, we're not friends.
Like, every time I'm over on the bench, this hurts my future earnings.
My career. It hurts everything. It hurts my team. It hurts my career. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So
Fred's a man with a code.
Yes, and that's why I think it's respected when he does say something or do something. It's like, yo, what is going on for him to get out of line? Because he is one of the good ones. Yeah, like, imagine Mike Conley just started getting technical. He's like, what the hell's going on? Not what happened, Mike. What happened to referees? What the fuck are y'all doing out there? What are y'all saying to Mike Conley for him to get technicals? Yeah. Something's up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So that's there. Then we've got Boston, Cleveland was a great one. Boston's actually got a chance to get through. Atlanta just dropped one. I think they actually get through the group. I don't see Missoula not running it up on people. Like, I could see. I don't know if you saw the.
Oh yeah, he's definitely. Last year, every basket, it's about points. It's Billy Donovan. I'm like, come on, man, what are we doing here?
Did you see the 30, end of 40. The Atlanta-Chicago game?
I did not.
The last 35, 45 seconds were just pure madness. It was like, just throw the ball full court 3, throw the ball full court 3, throw the ball full court 3. The thing is like, you played international basketball. the thing that the NBA teams are doing differently that they don't understand the point differential is in international basketball, you actually hold the ball so you're the last one getting the shot. You don't take like the quick
more shots. Yeah.
You don't take the
Let's
quick
take more
shot.
shots so we can try. You give the other team opportunity to score more as well if you miss those shots.
Yes, you guarantee that this is the worst the margin could get or the best it could get, and then you get the last shot. But like it was just full court sprint three. It was hilarious.
It's like that even when it's not a cup game. The game has become, and a lot of people are not happy about the amount of threes that are being taken and the lack of offense of like plays, sets. It's just run and gun. Everybody's taking contested, uncontested, just threes all galore.
I don't think it's like that much of a problem because
if it's quality, I don't think it's a big problem.
Like it's more of a thing of I think the threes are coming because like rim shots are being taken away. Like I think the thing that people don't get is like if dunks were happening, that would mean that threes would be the ones being taken away, but threes are being given up because it's so much easier to score when you're in the paint than it is when you're at the 3-point line. And teams are willing to take more threes because like the math is better, but it's not like they're like, oh, let's take no dunks. Like every team is like, I want dunks and free throws, and then we'll take catch and shoot threes. But it's not like they're turning those down.
Some are. I wouldn't say turning down. They're just hunting the line more than touching the. Like I don't think any of us have problems with threes when they're good, quality, uncontested, or even when the ball has touched the paint zone. When it said it's swing up the court, shoot a three, 5 possessions in a row, transition without any change in size of the floor or actually getting a paint touch, that's when it's like, all right, what are we doing here? You know?
Yeah. No, we don't have you made a living off shooting them. I made a living off teaching people how to shoot them. Like we have zero problems with threes.
We love it.
We love threes. Like sign me up. The more the better. And then last one, Cat and Embiid. Cat dominated Joel. Just absolutely dominated him. Yes, first game back, but like Cat's got to
kick him while he's down. Kick him while he's down. Step on his head while he's drowning. He's coming back. Joel is still finding his rhythm, but yes, that's the sign of have that killer instinct, man. I love the competitiveness, the old school. It's not like we're not taking it easy or light on anybody. We're not being nice guys. We're here to kick someone's ass. We're here to win and compete. So that's the NBA that we've grown to watch and love, and we hope it stays and gets back to that place.
Cat's got a little hit list going. He just got the best of Jokic last night in Denver too. Like Cat's got Jokic and Embiid. He's got the skins already on both of them for this year. He's got them both coming to the Garden.
There was the debate of people saying, Cat is nowhere near as skilled as. Well, first people made the statement that he was as skilled as Jokic. Then it was like, we apologize. We're very sorry. It's not even close.
Yeah.
And he's trying to make that argument sound like, look, man, I may not be as great, but I'm still very damn good.
Yeah.
And I'm not far away from that. And when I'm on my playing my best basketball, anybody can get it. So 30-15 is a good night.
I like their team. I love their team for the playoffs, the Knicks. I don't know if I'm like a full believer of like that they're going to get there healthy, but I love their top end, their ceiling that they get to. Like it's pretty impressive.
If they stay healthy. I like their front-loaded campaign and Deuce off the bench is solid. They do need Mitch Robinson back. OG can give you, like any of those guys give you 30 or 40.
Besides,
Mikal give you 30. OG had 40 the night. Obviously, Cat can give you 40. Jalen can give you 40. Josh Hart can give you 20 or 30. Like he can give you a triple-double. Like they have guys that can give you some numbers.
Besides Cat and Brunson, because they're obviously their two most indispensable players out of the three wings, Hart, OG, and Bridges. Who's the most irreplaceable? Like who can they not lose out of that trio? Like who hurts the most to lose?
Ooh, this is going to sound, I'm going to say between OG and Mikal, I'm going to say OG.
OG's been balling.
He's the defensive, like because obviously Josh can rebound and plays defense pretty well too. OG's more athletic, bigger body, can guard multiple positions and the bigger guards, like the KDs and LeBrons, even though they're in the West. But like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, he's not going to have his way. Like he might be able to get, those guys might be able to get Josh Hart because they're taller than Josh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Jason OG's a little bigger guard. Mikal Bridges is a little lighter. You know what I'm saying? So so when you got the matchups, I'm thinking OG is the guy that you can't lose when you have the matchups against those type of guys.
I agree. They can't lose OG. And he's shooting the ball so well. He's cutting so well. When he gets any type of an angle going to finish, like, he's going to finish. Nobody's bumping him off his line. He's one of the stronger guys that I've seen in the league. And
solid base, very athletic. He was damn near leading the league in dunks 1 year. I mean, he's getting a little older now, but he's not doing it. But it's very athletic, gets around. He should 6'8", jump 40-some inches, but you better be at the rim. Better not. He was in, we're missing no chippies, bro. Him extending his game out to 3 as well, knocking down shots in mid-range makes the game a lot more easier for him and everybody else around him.
I just realized, like, all these guys are the seedlings from your 2019 team in Toronto, from your second championship team, right?
Yes. Like, say that again.
They're all the seedlings. They're all the young fellas that have gone out and hatched. Like, so your seedlings from that team that got like the education from Kyle, from you, from Kawhi.
OG didn't even play that year. We won without OG play. He had a cyst that burst or something like burst
sack or something like that.
Something burst like a cyst or something burst internally. I'm not a doctor. Those tuning in, if you understand, I'm not House, I'm not Grey's Anatomy. I don't know the technical term, but he had something internally that exploded or burst.
So out of those seedlings, out of OG, Pascal, Norm, would you say that Fred? Those are the 4 that kind of like
they're all balling, bro.
They're all who is in your mind, like who's put them in order right now of how they're playing. And it's interesting to see that they've all kind of like left the nest. They're all out of the raptor nest. They've hatched. The eggs have hatched. Well, it's wild to think about if they were still there.
Norm number 1 right now.
Norm
was absolutely going on a killing spree. Just serial. Just
never met a shot he didn't like.
Serial killing. Just killing everything and everybody moving in front of him. He was averaging damn near 30. He was leading scorer on the Clippers, which you did not expect to happen. Kawhi's not there. They're still finding ways to win games and be in games because of him. Mm-hmm. They won some games without him, but Norm was he had a tear for like a good 12 games where it was like 30, 27, 28 plus, 32, 36, 37. So he, number 1, hooping. And I think he's the most consistent. OG and Pascal are, kind of up and down. Right now, it's like OG, but it's been balling, started out, and then the next Indiana's so up and down. Pascal's kind of up and down, but he's been balling. He had moments where he's balling well too. He had a game winner. He was early on the season. So those 2 are like kind of back and forth between 2 and 3, and then Fred's a little bit behind him. But he's point guard, a little more passive. His scoring days were in Toronto. He's more of setting the table and being a leader in Houston. Yeah. Obviously, it doesn't help the fact that a couple game suspension probably coming up, and then he might not be playing. But he's more of a table setter when they have Segun, Jalen Green. Yeah. The younger guys that are up and coming and balling, and he's trying to teach them the ropes. He's become Caleb. So
yeah. Do you like
Norm? 94th percentile on threes percentage, 74% mid range, 84% in points per. He's balling, bro. Yeah. His numbers were crazy until I think he had one bad game or 2 before he got injured.
Do you like the Norm Powell, Paul George beef? Are you here for it?
I'm here for any beef that there is. I don't think there's real beef. But Norm is just saying, him being a baller and a competitor is like, it's an addition by subtraction. Like, I get a chance to do my thing now that he's gone. Yeah. And now PG, he's mostly talking about the fans. Like, worry about yourself, worry about your arena, pack that out. And then I think Norm said, we love the wall that you guys built. Like, I don't care no matter what PG says. But yeah, I don't think there's real beef. It's just
I like him taking it personally.
Friendly fire. But Norm,
like it.
And they beat the hell out. Without Norm, the Clippers beat the hell out of Philly. And I mean, like, damn. I'm like, come on. Tyrese. And obviously, I don't think Joel played. I'm not sure if he played. But he sat out the last 2. Jared McCain's been hooping. Don't like to talk about Dookies too much. But, I would like to see Tyrese be more aggressive.
No.
And take over more.
We're going to talk about the Clips here. So we're going to go through. We have a 9-team win total parlay placed on November 14th. So we're going to go through. We're going to see where we got stuff. There were some teams lower, some teams higher at the point. I'm going to run through it real quick. Yeah, here's who's on it. We got the Hawks over 32.5, the Pistons over 27.5, Cleveland over 55.5, Los Angeles Clippers over 39.5, New York Knicks under 52.5, Utah Jazz under 23.5, Brooklyn Nets over 22.5, Minnesota Timberwolves under 51.5, and the Orlando Magic, final team here, over 43.5. So that's our setup. We placed it on the 14th. At the time, everybody was in certain places where they're either better or worse now for our position. There's a few that we still love, a few that we really dislike. Number one, the first team we talked about, the New York Knicks. We were under on the 52.5. At the time of the 14th, the New York Knicks were at the time 10-7, or they're 10-7 now. They were 5-6 then. They had just lost to Chicago at home by 1. Brunson had hit a few shots. It looked like they were trying to figure stuff out. OG wasn't quite there. Bridges is, nobody knows kind of what's going on with Bridges and shooting the ball. It really seems a little weird. And the thing is, I was talking to an agent last night. I was texting when they were playing Denver. He's shooting like he's like, I don't know. He's shooting like Klay Thompson. Like he's shooting like every single shot should be going down. And there's something in me that loves that. But it's not. There's something in me that loves that because he's still like, you know what?
He's very confident.
I can shoot this pill. I can do it. Like but there's also something in me that's like, man.
He has moments. It's like in moments where it looks suspect, then moments it's like, all right, he's just not like, because it looked like he's thinking. It's like he's trying to work on something. It's like, then he's like, all right, it's not working. I'm gonna go back to Old Faithful. I'm gonna get to my mid-range and get to my smooth, like, and it's like, all right, now he's just trying to play his game where it's like, all right, if he want to just stay in this lane and continue to do what you did in Brooklyn here, instead of, I don't know if he's trying to change his shot, like, or if he's like subconsciously, or if it's conscious, like to him, like, all right, let me. But I'm loving the fact that he is confident in it, but it's very up and down. And said the fact they lost to Utah the other night, they started off pretty decent, but then it was like,
that was a bad one. That was good for us. But then they got one back in Denver that they probably should have lost. So that we came out even. When he shoots,
this is the one.
Yeah. When Bridges shoots the ball, there's something about like you had a different type of shot, but you had it dialed in, like where we were shooting this summer, and so much of it is like connecting the power from the floor through the hips to the basketball and moving it all in rhythm. And like when I see Bridges shoot, like his feet are really good. Like he does a good job with his feet, but the ball and his hips never get connected in terms of the power. Like, and it's like he brings it out away from him.
It's too many movements is what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's
not a smooth. It's too far from his face.
Yes. I was explaining it to our roommate, right? To Deion Thompson. And I was explained it as like the Guardians of the Galaxy guy that has the whistle, the
with the arrow,
and it's got the trail behind it. I was like, you got to imagine the basketball has a trail behind it, and your hips have a trail behind it, and at some point you need them to connect and then move together as like the power goes up. And so when I watch Bridges shoot the ball, and this is like anybody I've ever worked with, I see this trail of the basketball. It's like up here, and then I see the power, and he's like not even loading that much power in his hips, and then it's like he's trying to like almost like hit the basketball with the power and like slingshot it, and it's never connected.
You're losing the energy, or it's getting too much. It's too much room for error. Yandu is his name.
Yandu, Yandu.
Thanks to Jacob for that. But and unless you find other ways, shooting is all legs, it's all power, it's all footwork,
it's all rhythm,
and finding the base. And I have a hitch in my shot too, but as long as I could make sure I found the legs and get the jump and the explosiveness. I noticed there was issues when I had hip issues, when I couldn't get the explosiveness, or when I couldn't get my legs under me, or if I had something. So it's harder because I'm a jump shooter, or if when I had to take some off.
Then shoot.
Yeah, so I had to take some off my jump from the three-point line to like make it a little smoother sometimes as I got older. But yeah, Mikal seems like it's, I'm going to say very robotic, but it has multiple movements. And it's not moving. It doesn't have to move smoothly, but it has to move in the same power, the same. Same facet of like, all right, connect. Like, all right, this is connected to this, and this is gonna go like that.
Exactly. Because shooting is like
stop energy, stop, and it's like catching the ball, bringing it back down, going back up. Like, there's a lot of movement and a lot of room for error when you do that. So I think it's ultimately it's fighting. His body's fighting against himself, or he's fighting against his own shot at times.
Yeah,
where it doesn't look fluid, but if you practice it 1,000 times, you got 10,000. You could still be very good at whatever it is you choose to shoot. But I think it'd be less stressful on him and his body if he was to name.
Yeah, I disagree. I feel like shooting is 12, 15 different little simple machines, and they have to all form together. Like, I'll describe it to somebody as like a Rolex, and it's like shooting, like it's like you break apart the watch and you sharpen each little piece, and that's like any of your vitamins, like what you're working on, your habits, then you put it back together. And when you go out there and shoot, all these little simple machines come together to form like the one machine that works together. And when I see his shot, I see all these little simple machines that are working on their own, but they don't come together to form like a cohesive, big, explosive movement. Because shooting at non-corner threes, where he's dead last, 18% non-corner threes, dead last in the whole league above the break. So when shooting that shot, like it's an equation of distance, speed, power, and you don't have time to think like the reference of 1,000 shots and you can perfect it. Yes, but like you get a chance to think during those. When you're in a game, like if you think you die, it has to be all, repetitive shot prep footwork, habits turning into instincts. And then once that shot prep footwork hits, like everything in that machine is just combusting from there. It sets and then it fires all at one time. It's like a rocket launcher. And when I see his machine, it doesn't get to that point where it all comes together and then it's a rocket explosion. It never gets liftoff. What do you think?
I agree for the most part. And some parts I think so I have a question after hearing that. Do you think a person without touch can become a good shooter?
I think it's really hard because, I worked with somebody that didn't have like great touch with their hands, ball handling and everything. And one of the things to like improve as a shooter was ball handling and touch around the rim and all these other things. Because I think one of the biggest things, and you were in the gym this summer with Dion, because Dion like kind of falls into this equation a little bit of like, you have to be able, and seeing you do it helped Dion so much. You have to be able to have your hands work. They have to be relaxed. And guys that don't trust their hands with the ball, guys that don't catch the ball and then know that they have it and they don't have to death grip it, but they can move their hands around the basketball to drive power through, to load in a certain position where the power can transfer. It's almost impossible for them to become great shooters because they have to death grip the ball, they have to pull it, and then they have to like push it. And I equate it to a wet towel versus a frozen towel. If your hands are tight and if you have to death grip a basketball, it's like a frozen towel, right? You can never whip that towel to create power. But if your hands are loose and they're able to mold around the ball and you have it and you can drive your hands in different directions, that's like a wet towel where you can snap it. You can create that power, that lift, that explosion. And to me, if you don't have the trust in your hands, if you're not capable of relaxing them, if you can't relax your fingers and your wrist, you're not going to be able to whip power through your body from your feet to your hips to the basketball. And then you can't get there, not at this distance.
Yeah. So ultimately, your answer is a no. I agree because yes. I don't think it, and I think Mikal has touch. Like I think he's had the game with that. Some people just don't have the touch. And even without the touch, I think you become a decent shooter at best. Like capable. You become capable. But it's just hard. Like some guys are just like, he just doesn't have the touch. But Mikal obviously gets shown. He hits that mid-range. He was damn near 99, like mid-range last year. You know what I'm saying? If you talk about 2K ratings. If we were talking about 8 threes, he was, shot the ball well from 3 too. So he has the touch. It's just the mechanics that somewhere along the line has changed some. But,
I think that's the corner three or the mid-range, though, to your point. Like, because when you're shooting a corner three, you're most likely in the corner waiting for it. So like you have a moment
it's not on the move as much.
Exactly. And you have a moment where you can be like, okay, I know the basketball is coming. This is what I'm going to do. Versus any above the break three, it's way more likely that you're moving like to space or that you have the
or off the dribble, off a pick and roll, off a DH.
Exactly. So it's not a like set, like there's more elements in the equation of speed, power, and distance. Because you're reading defenders, like your feet have to be moving in a different way. You have to be able to load power and then transfer power from the floor through your body to the basketball. So any above the break three has like more complex elements in the equation versus the corner three. Somebody else is cooking and you're standing there And it's like, if it comes to me, I'm definitely shooting it. So you're way more prepared mentally and physically for that shot. And it's a shorter distance.
Yes. Hell of a breakdown. That definitely is the best way to describe it. I said, I want to watch more games, see how it progresses for him.
Yeah.
How it changed throughout the year. Ultimately, they're going to need him. Like, to be great, to beat Boston, they're going to need him as well as OG, not just offensively, but defensively, to guard those guys. And Josh Hart, those three are the main defenders and X factors that need to put up some numbers on both ends of the floor to be able to compete or beat those top tier teams.
Yeah. So this is the last thing on the Knicks, because I do love them as the team in the East that has a chance against Boston. Because Boston, the one thing that last year I dug into Boston, the one thing that I feel like they have a hole in when it comes to their defense with KP, and like the ceiling with KP offensively is just so fun for them. Like KP back just opens.
But the thing is, KP is very in and out. You just don't know when. You never know when he's healthy.
Yeah.
So,
but defensively, like, they are susceptible with KP to a pick and pop big. Like, they did not have a good record against Denver, Minnesota,
so That's where
OKC.
That's Cat. Yeah.
And I think New York, like, when you see them in the regular season, like, I'm not like every single team they play, like, yes, there will be nights, there will be not nights, but like when they get in a series, I think they have this thing with Brunson and Cat and they're the best pick and roll in the NBA right now per numbers. They have this thing with those guys that they have a solution for every coverage you put on them, because Cat is such a threat pick and pop. And if you switch it, like, Brunson is very comfortable. Welcome to Jalen Island. You know, rent is
and
not free.
He can throw Cat in the post too. Like, he'll get you a right hook. He'll get you, back or over the lone spot, bank shot, or something. Like, he can operate in the post as well. And so yes, they have the tools.
Cat's not Jokic in the short roll, but he ain't bad either. Like, he catches catches it on like a beeline. Like, he loves to catch it on the run and go dunk it. He'll make a few
that
plays.
One leg. You said running start, you get out the way, or you can run over.
Yeah.
But they have the tools, they have the pieces. It's just about putting it together and staying healthy. And you said Boston is they're vulnerable, especially when KP is out and he had that injury, and also when they live and die by the three. We know it. When they have an off night shooting a 3-ball, they lose games. They shouldn't be losing. Like, even when you're off, when you're a team like that, you should never lose.
They dropped one to Atlanta. That was tough.
Yeah, Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no Trae Young Atlanta. They dropped one at home in the cup where it means more.
Yeah, unbelievable. So games like that you should not drop.
This has turned into basically a New York Knicks podcast. Okay, one other team that I really want to hit, that we both love them. We're in on them, and I have been in on them from the start of the year. I believe that the James Harden heliocentric pick and roll offense is back. I'm so much happier. Zoo is such a fun partner for him. Jeff Van Gundy with the defense, like, they do not play the same defense every night. They mold to different teams. We have the Clippers over 39.5. We have been on the Clippers for a while. They were 6-6 at the time. They are now 11-8. They had just lost to Houston. They had a tough back-to-back in Houston. James was back in H-Town. Had to expect those were scheduling losses. They were good with that. But like, they're one of the fun teams that they just have this grittiness to them that they hadn't
figured it out, man. They're just hooping.
Tell me what you love
Kevin
about
Porter Jr. The fact that they're winning games without Norm is like, they didn't have no Kawhi. So beginning of the season, we thought they were going to be trash. PG's gone. Kawhi is hurt. It's over for them. James and Norm had different mindset. They had a different narrative. They were like, all right, cool. This is our show. Zubek doing his thing. Derrick Jones Jr. over there. They have a lot of pieces. Athletic wings, active, and they like to get up and down. And James is the perfect piece for that. And the role that he's in right now, not only like able to score, but an assist role, finding those guys, pushing the pace, getting them easy looks. He draws so much attention. He's so smart, his IQ of picking apart defenses with a pick and roll. And it's like, that's what we call him the system. You don't need players. You get him to pick and roll, either he's going to get a shot or he's going to get somebody else a shot. So that's just how it is. And somebody's going to get an easy look. If you just run or you spot up, knock down shots, a couple guys reinventing themselves over there. Is it Dunn? He's over there getting some good looks. Like, he's looking like a really good player. Like, he's built up a lot of guys' careers in a good way. And a lot of guys should be thanking him. And Zubak is looking like that guy. Norm was getting off, he's hurt right now, but those guys over there are getting easy looks, and they're figuring out and finding ways. Mind you, a lot of people in the league a lot of teams are in a disarray and still figuring it out. So they have some time to like get their identity.
Almost 20 games in. You got to find your identity pretty soon here. Like if you don't find it by game 30, it's a tough road ahead.
I like to give it till Christmas. So we got another month before it's like, if you don't have an identity by Christmas, you know what I'm saying? Because there's still so many injuries now. Mm-hmm. Like this past week, calling the game tonight, I got Harrison Barnes, Player of the Week, Western Conference Player of the Week, first time in his career, this late in his career.
Great day to be a Tar Heel. Shout out Harrison Barnes.
Shout out to Harrison, and obviously Carolina coming back on Dayton last night.
Shout out Seth Trimble, your protege.
Going to work. So they're doing a thing. But those things happen because there's so many guys out. Like Luka's not around. Like we're the top dogs that are sitting out. Jokic just got back from injury, but so some guys are out, and that's why teams are still kind of figuring out. And they get new people. New Orleans is throwing. The Elfrid Payton had like 16 assists, something crazy like that.
So cool.
But it's like I didn't know he was over there. You know what I'm saying? Like they just got him. They just picked him up. But guys are getting other opportunities. But teams are still finding their way. Some teams still trying to get healthy. But also adapting to new trades and pieces added, and that takes more time. So I like to give it till mid-December.
All right.
So December 15th is like, all right, if you don't have identity, then we're in trouble.
Yeah.
That's which ultimately is like game 30, probably game 35.
You mentioned one of my favorite Clippers, Kris Dunn, and he's one of my favorite stories in the NBA. I watched a good bit of Kris Dunn the past couple years, and to me, I value when a guy finds self-awareness, like a guy finding self-awareness and completely reinventing himself. Like Bruce Brown went through this when he went from being a point guard in Detroit to, this like short role 4-man playmaker in Brooklyn and then evolved in Denver. Kris Dunn has gone through that same thing. Like when you're a top 5 pick, you're supposed to be the system. You're the offense, like everything. And so like his journey from being a top 5 pick in Chicago, things not going well, like falling out of the league, coming back, going G League in Washington, couple games here in Portland, like cup of coffee in Portland, and then Utah for the past 2 years. Like he's truly reinvented the way he plays. He's reinvented how he sees the game, and it all comes from a level of self-awareness of understanding where he is in the hierarchy and, okay, I'm here. Well, the guy that's here, what is the role that he's supposed to play? And whatever that role is, I'm going to be the best guy at that role. And so him, to me, he's like, he figured out when he got drafted, he was a shark, right? He was supposed to be one of the big dogs. And now he's figured out how to be one of the fish that swims next to a shark. And he's like, I'm going to be the best one of these little fish that there is. And like him,
plankton eater.
Yes,
plankton guy
exactly.
On top of the whale or whatever.
Exactly. That, and he was like, that's okay. That's who I am, but I'm going to be the best version of that. And to see him revitalize his career is so cool. He's tough as nails. And when he plays, I looked it up on Cleaning Glass. When he plays with Harden and Zubac, 433 possessions on the year, 98th percentile there, plus 16.9 with that trio on the court. He knows exactly what he's supposed to do, and he does it at an all-star level for that role. And I think that's the coolest thing.
100%, and I couldn't agree more. And that just reminded me of a time when I first got to Memphis, Dillon Brooks, he was like, he came to me, and he's already a good player. Probably averaged more points than I ever did in any part of my career. Like he averaged 15 to 16 1 point for Memphis. He's averaged big numbers. What's the key to like having a long career? Knowing who you are. You know what I'm saying? Knowing what you bring to the table and playing within yourself. Not stop trying to be or everybody else. I know the goal is I want to be $100 million man. You can do that by just being who you are. And ultimately he got paid going to Houston, but it was more so like you don't have to be. I know it was his team at once, but now they have Desmond Bane coming in, Jaren Jackson, all these younger guys are coming up. It's like, I know it's once your team, but now it's like you don't have to take a backseat, but you don't have to be the forefront and be the aggressor all the time. Like you can pick and choose your moments and spots. Your role in this team is just locking people up, playing defense, and then taking the good shots. It's not forcing it. So ultimately, if you know who you are and not try to be that guy because that's who you think you like, or people think you, or who you want to be, or other people think you are, it'll help you have a longer lasting career in this league. And he's doing very well for himself. You can see the role he's playing in Houston. He's not trying to take a bunch of shots. He's been way more efficient since he left Memphis in the 2 years, a year and a half now, not even a year and a half that he's been in Houston. So I
think that's so cool. Like, I think, like, I agree with you. Obviously, like, I've had that conversation with people, but I think it's so cool that a guy like that came to you. And
yeah, I'm like, should be asking me quite like, DB, you got 7-8 years in yourself at this time. At this point. And like, you're established, you're a starter, you're going to be all right. You're going to have a good long career. But, people see the side of him where he's a pest and being a kind of an asshole on the court. But he actually cares and learns and loves the game and competes and is a good kid. And like, they don't know these stories about him. He actually cares about his teammate, asks questions, gives advice, pushes guys to be better. And it's not in a asshole way, excuse my French, but he does know how to do it in a certain way. But yeah, he's a good kid, good player, great teammate to have, and cares about the game. He does things, and he actually asks questions. I was shocked. That's the insight you learn from your teammates. Even short stint with Pat Bev, you know what I'm saying? We had a little thing like a year or so ago, but then we got a chance to be teammates. And it's like, all right, cool. I see how he looks at the game. He sees my perspective, understands, you get a newfound respect for him just seeing how they operate as a professional.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think that's awesome about Brooks. I worked with a guy, and I won't say who, but he was really hell-bent on, like, he wants to be an all-star. And my response was that, like, his chance of being an all-star was basically, like, the Atlanta team with, like, Jeff Teague and Kyle. They all were all-stars. Like, that's your best chance at it. But, like,
your team has to do really well, and some people have to get hurt, and for you to slide in,
And I told him, I was like, but you can be, like, your goal should be, like, you should be an all-star at your role. Like, you should be one of the top 3 guys at the role that you play, because you had a very specific role, and the role that he played could get paid like $25 million a year if he was an all-star at his role. Like, if he was one of the top guys.
Especially in today's game.
Yeah.
You get 30, you can get a lot of money.
Yeah. And so, like, that conversation, like, it the same as the Dillon Brooks. It's just like, he didn't want to hear what I had to say. Dillon wanted to hear what you had to say. But, like, it's the same thing of, like, not everybody is meant to be an all-star. Like, and Kris Dunn is the example of that. Like, Kris Dunn, when you get drafted number 5, like, the expectations are you can be an all-star. Like, there's a percentage chance that you're going to be an all-star. But, like, we
see the potential in you.
Yes.
We see the potential in you to be that.
He shifted his mindset from I'm going to try to be an all-star to I'm going to be an all-star at this specific role. And it's going to be that I'm going to lock up the best player. I'm going to be an absolute pest. I'm going to be winning the leverage battle. I'm going to be dogging the ball 94 feet every single time. I'm going to be cutting in the right place. I'm going to be grabbing every offensive rebound. First to the floor, loose ball, like, I'm on it. And, like, he's playing real serious basketball. He's starting. He's 93rd percentile in plus minus for all guards. Like, he's really playing.
He's knocking down the corner three. He's doing. He's looking like a really good role player. I'm looking at him like he's locking people. I'm like, who's that blocking people up? Playing. I'm like, is that Kris Dunn? Oh, okay, doing his thing.
Instead of being like in the G League or overseas or at home, like, he's like, I'm gonna be the best little plankton fish that swims next to a great white shark, and I'm gonna learn how to do it the best that I can. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. That's dope. Good for him. Yeah. Shout out to him.
Shout out Kris.
Shout out to the Clippers. They're still balling even with injuries and with no Kawhi and now no Norm as of right now. But they're doing well. Clippers are doing well.
All right, last one we're going to touch. The Brooklyn Nets. They were 5-7 at the time. They had just lost to Boston at home. They got beat by a good bit, 25. And to me, when I saw them, they're now 8-10. They just beat Golden State. Big win in Golden State. They just beat the Kings the night before. So big West Coast road trip, Jordy Fernandez revenge game in Sacramento. To me, the biggest thing that I saw was how they played for Jordy and what the standard is. And a lot of times you can see when teams don't have a high standard. You can see when they
see when the energy is not there.
Yeah, and it would
they're playing hard for them every night. They're in games that to the average fan, they have a bunch of guys you guys would not know their names or who they are. But for somehow, some way, they find ways to win and also be in games at the end of the game and against some of the better teams in the league. So I do like this over that you have for them.
Oh, they're on the way. I mean, they're damn near there.
This is a good over. And I'm pretty confident.
I'm like, they're almost there.
Yeah, they have a third of the way. They're a third of the way through. You know what I'm saying? So, like, they got to get to 23. They'll be good. I think they'll be solid.
But they have a bite to them that you can see, like, it comes from what's going on inside the walls and what the standard has been set inside the walls and how much those guys have bought in from what Jordy is pumping out, what the staff is pumping out. Like, how we're going to play basketball, what's going to be acceptable, what's not going to be acceptable. And like, I always liken it to when I'm watching of like this standard, you can see it in like how defensive rotations happen, and then how the reaction is to those, either like bad defensive rotations, or if there aren't any, like you can see like this is a team that actually thinks they can be good basketball players. And the guys that you mentioned, like those guys were also the best player on their college team. Like just because you don't know who they are now in the NBA scheme, they were also really awesome players.
Oh, they're very good players.
Yeah, and they're trying to do the Kris Dunn thing. They're trying to do the Dillon Brooks thing, where they're like, actually, I belong in this league. I'm trying to figure out where I fit within this league. And right now, I'm going to be the best version of this role that I have the opportunity to play right now. And those guys are all trying to stick. My favorite one, another Tar Heel, shout out Cam Johnson. A lot of career highs for Cam Johnson. And one of the things that's like fun about him is he's expanding his role. He's shooting them off the bounce. So right now, career high in minutes, almost 32 and a half, career high in points, a little bit above 18, career high in threes made, almost 3.5, career high in threes taken per game, 7.5, 63% effective field goal. He's shooting the leather off the ball, career high in assist, almost 3, 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Great day to be a Tar Heel. Cam Johnson, he's lighting it up.
Yeah,
he really is. Yes,
I got to shed some light on my other guys too, man. Zaire Williams had a great night the other night, 19 and 10. Him being traded from Memphis, trying to figure out his way. He's another top pick, first rounder, a lot of potential, and trying to figure it out. And then, of course, Shake Milton off the bench, gave him 13. A couple of my guys, but obviously Cam Thomas, Dennis Schroeder, those guys have been leading the way. They've been hooping, they've been balling. But Jordy's got them balling, man. And Cam Johnson, ultimately, those three guys are the reason why they're in games every night. Yeah. Cam, Dennis, and other Cam. Yeah. So, like, two Cams. They're the reason why they're giving why they beat Golden State and giving out the team, fits.
Yeah, between those three, they can handle the ball. They all can handle the ball. They all can shoot the ball. They all know how to move without the basketball, and they all make intelligent cuts. So, like, you're not giving the ball away. I always feel like most shots wins. Like, if you're not giving the ball away, and if you're getting offensive rebounds, like
more possessions,
you want the most shots. Like, so if you're not giving the ball away, you give yourself such a good opportunity every single night to be in every game. And then if you're
rebound
playing hard,
and no turnovers.
Yes, and if you're playing hard defensively, if you have good rotations, if you have early help, like if everybody's on a string moving around, like if you give a shit, like truly, if you just give a shit, like, and you don't turn the ball over, you've got a chance every single night. And like they meet that standard, like just that floor, they meet that floor, and then a couple buckets go in here or there. And like they almost beat New York in the Garden.
Confidence levels raised, you know what I'm saying? And then, you get somebody to get hot, and in any given night, what could happen in this league. So
yeah, Cam Thomas is one of those like interesting test cases of like, what is he? So like, like is he
combo guard, scorer, but smaller, supposed to be a point guard.
He's at this fork in a road where it's like, I could see his career going Jordan Clarkson role. I could see his career going Bradley Beal role. I could see his career going Devin Booker role. Like all three of those guys are kind of like at the fork in the road for him. And like what he decides to do in terms of how he sees the game, like how he makes reads, like to me, he's at this place where if he can shift his mindset from it's just about buckets and it's about like, okay, I can get a bucket, but when I have the opportunity to make an early pass when help is rotating and I can get the shell moving for everybody else, like that's what the guys who make the most money do. Is they don't just score. They can score buckets whenever they want.
Yes.
It's top-down economics. Like they make it easier for everybody else to score.
They're not just a one-trick pony. They have IQ, and they can create for other people as well. I could see him and Jared McCain, I feel like, favor each other. So instead, I hate to keep bringing up the Dookie, but they just look undersized, but they're scoring and getting buckets, shooting. But
I like Jared McCain shooting the ball. Like Jared McCain shoots the ball. Well. That's a good thing. Like it's a nice compact stroke, and like
he's getting up a lot of attempts.
He's not scared to shoot.
No, he's not. So it's like quality ones, and then obviously seeing if he can create for others. Can he get that role, be a combo? So. Oh,
all right. Well, this is where we leave it. NBA Cup game tonight. You've got the Jazz and the Spurs. What are you looking forward to the most in that call? You're calling for the San Antonio broadcast.
A lot of things.
A lot of Wembanyama.
I'm excited. I've never seen him in person yet, so I'm excited to see him up close. Strangely enough, I'm going to say excited, but I want to see how the court. I've never seen the Cup game courts up close either.
Welcome to the Cup.
See how they affect. I want to see how they affect the play and shoot. Like, does this change the depth perception? Does it change shooting?
Are you going to go launch a few out there?
I'm going to go walk on the court to see. I'm not going to launch any.
Will you launch a few and let us know how it feels?
I could do that. I don't see why
they'll give you a basketball.
I'll be in a suit, so we'll see. But I'll see how it feels. But I'm excited to see. I will see HB, both the Carolina boys, both the Harrisons, and then you don't get a chance to see Pop. Will Hardy on the sideline, my guy. Patty Mills over there. A couple of my Spurs ascendant guys. But just calling the game, watching the game, and seeing these special talents up close that I haven't got to see in a while.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, enjoy that one. It was great to have you back. Thanks for doing this one. We'll know in a couple weeks, by the time we have you back again for another return appearance, we'll know who the top 8 teams are in the Cup. We'll be down to the Elite 8. And then, hopefully my pick was Boston. We've still got a chance to get out of the group. Your pick is Golden State. You're already into the Elite 8. It would be wonderful if our teams matched up in the final. Like that would probably
would be a great.
That would be the best of all worlds. Like we would crown ourselves as geniuses of everything at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Nostradamus. Yeah.
Nostradamus. We'll sign as all right.
Might go play the lottery after this year.
There you go.
If that happens.
All right. Daniel Green, good luck on the call tonight. Enjoy the game. Enjoy altitude. And in Utah, enjoy the mountains. Thanks for doing this. And we'll check back in with you in a little bit.
For sure. Read, rate, subscribe, review. You guys know what to do.
There you go.
It was a pleasure, my man. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, Danny. Later, buddy.